even on drill weekends when you would have like you would be on call acting warden, and there was always, if there was anything going on, you had to be ready to go, and you're always checking your phone. And
Constantly. It was a 24-hour day, 7-day a week job. Even when I didn't have duty, when I would go to the reserve center, I had the same issues. I was still getting the calls because I was operations, and most of that time I was operations warden, so I was over security and everything. So any of the issues that happen on a day-to-day basis, I'm usually getting calls on. So I was always having to have everything ready in my vehicle to pick up and leave at a moment's notice from drill weekend if something happened.
Welcome back to the 420 Chief podcast. We hope you guys enjoy this video. On behalf of Chief and Bub Productions, I personally would like to apologize for the missing intro to this video. I have no idea what happened to the clip, but we would like to introduce our guest today, Alex Jones. And with that being said, we hope you guys enjoy the video.
I remember you had told me numerous stories, and I'm like, I can't even make this shit up. Some of the stuff that people do in the prison, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's I mean, there's some entertaining things that have happened over the years, but there's also there's a tremendous amount of violence in the prison system, and you're exposed to a lot over the years. Lots of homicides, lots of violence, having shots fired, stabbings. I mean, it was a very, very stressful job. I think I thrived on stress during that time frame. I think that was why I was so successful, is I wanted the action. And then I think the problem when I started, looking at myself a little more internally was after I retired. I went from 100 miles an hour, high stress, anxiety, things go on all the time, calls every time there's a problem, to nothing. And that actually puts a lot of, I've spoken to a lot of other people who have retired before me, and we end up in the same kind of a situation where all of that stuff you were exposed to during your career is just, you're in it. It's part of the flow. But when you retire, all you can do is ponder on it. And that puts a lot of anxiety and stress. And, and that's where we're kind of coming into the conversation about marijuana. How does that play a part in the dealing with those type of issues?
Certainly can relate to that. I know just myself from being on call 24/7 for over 10 years. When I stopped, Bub can attest this. I would just randomly look at my phone, or I'm like, I can't. I don't even go to bed in the right state of mind. I'm like, I had to actually think about this and turn that off. Like, you're not on call.
Oh yeah.
You don't have any. You're not going to get that call. You don't have to be ready to go. Like, enjoy your family or try to get some sleep. But before I found cannabis, I used alcohol. And that's definitely not the best solution, especially if I needed to do something. I probably wouldn't have been in the right state of mind. But it did help me kind of numb to, you know, that that feeling all the time, that anxiety that you speak about. But I would like to hear more about, before we just jump into the cannabis, maybe how your views on cannabis have evolved over your lifetime.
Well, that's an interesting tale. I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't listening to Nancy Reagan back in the 80s. Just it was really put into my head at an early age. That I was at a small school in Central Ohio, is where I was born and raised, and it was just a no-no. When you talked about it, it was always under hushed tones and whispering and shh. And when I was a kid, being in a small town, you really didn't hear about it that much. So when you did, it was a big deal. So I was always of a mentality which carried on into my careers, of being like law enforcement oriented. I ended up working for the Department of Corrections for 27 years. I ended up being a master at arms in the Navy for 22 years. I was always law enforcement oriented. So my thoughts were always, drugs are bad, okay? That's bottom line. And, as time went on, I didn't want to just be blinded in an opinion and say, I've established an opinion and that's what it is. I dig, I research, I like to know more about things. So I started listening to more people talking about cannabis use, and I think I developed probably about 4 or 5 years before I retired. I kind of developed the attitude that I don't think this should be illegal. I think it's wrong, because I think there's so many more benefits to it. and less harm caused than the cigarettes and alcohol. So I kind of changed my opinion on over the time. And then when I retired and all my demons came piling in on me, kind of like what you were saying, my answer was alcohol too. If you remember during our drill weekends, I would frequently talk about different types of bourbons that I'd tried and this bourbon. Well, you know, my thing was every time I would get stressed or anxious, have a bad day at work, which was frequently, you go home and you drink a little bit of whiskey, take the edge off, and that was my answer. When I retired, the boredom and the thoughts and the pondering on things made me kind of think, yeah, go out and buy another fifth of whiskey, go out and buy this. And I kind of decided that I don't want to do that to myself. So after years of being against it, and then years of being for it, but still not being a participant, when I retired from DOC, day one, I went to a dispensary, bought myself a little tray of 5 milligram gummies. Had no idea how to do this. I mean, I know you obviously eat the gummy, but I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
Kind of scared, so I popped one gummy, sat there in my recliner watching TV for about an hour and a half thinking, I don't think this is doing anything. And then a moderately funny, I might even say mildly funny commercial came on, and it was hysterical. I started laughing so hard. I think I laughed for 2 hours straight, got up, ate half the food in our refrigerator, and then went and go to sleep. So when I got up, of course, you know, you remember everything. It's not like alcohol where you have blackouts.
Who ate the goddamn food?
Yeah, what happened? I knew what I did, and I enjoyed it, and I thought, this is okay. And I probably almost entirely on that day, stopped drinking.
Wow, that's very powerful.
Yeah. Now, I'll have a drink occasionally because I didn't really, you know, I don't seek it for pain relief now or stress relief now. Now, I still have this idea in my head that a good bourbon, but more often than not, every 3 months or so, I'll think, I want to have a glass of bourbon, and I'll pour the bourbon, and 2 things happen. Well, 3 things happen. One of the things is I drink it. Rarest of the things. Second thing is I'll take a sip and think, that's kind of harsh, and I'll set it down, forget I had it, wait till the ice melts in it, see it 3 hours later, and dump it in the sink. Or the third thing is I'll set it beside me, forget I even put it there, and never even take a drink out of it, and dump it down the sink. So when I say I go through about a fifth of whiskey every 3 months, I would say at least half of that is down the drain.
Wow.
So, and I haven't had a drink of whiskey now. I mean, you know, like I said, occasionally I'll do it. I haven't had one now in the last 2.5 months, and I don't care. I don't look for that. I don't look for alcohol, you know. And I said cannabis has really been a big saving grace for that because it kind of sets my head straight. It takes the anxiety out of having a bad day. It just kind of puts me in a good place.
How much whiskey would you say you drank on average before cannabis, just out of curiosity?
There was a time, and it probably lasted for a while, that I was probably going through 3/5 a week.
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah, I was about at least a fifth a day vodka.
Ooh,
The
yeah,
handle.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't go quite that far. I kept it back a little bit, but still. And the thing is, the problem with my 3/5 is it wasn't spread out evenly through the weeks. It was like, I mean, through the week, I would probably have on a Wednesday, I might knock off half a fifth. Friday night, half a fifth. Saturday, half a fifth. Sunday, half a fifth. I mean, I was knocking them off in 3 and 4 day blocks. So I was basically binge drinking. You know, I would knock out a fifth sometimes in a night. And I knew it was doing horrible things for my health. And I was feeling it. I was feeling it in my health in a lot of ways. And when I backed off that, it was amazing how cognizant my brain kind of seemed to suddenly lean towards. I opened up. I had, you know, I could remember things better. It was just all different. Getting off booze was a huge thing for me because I think that was a rabbit hole I didn't want to go down in retirement with too much time on my hands and get stuck in.
Right. That's really powerful story. That's amazing that you are capable now to still have that drink, but not be it's not in control of you at all.
Oh, not at all.
And I'm very similar. Like it's not that I have quit drinking. I haven't done it in so long, but I remember the last few times I've even tried. Like I would get a beer, take a couple of drinks. I'm like, man, it's just not going down right. You know, or it get warm, and I'm like, yeah, forget it. But it used to be if I had one beer, I'm probably gonna have 50 more beers. It was fucking nuts.
It does. And that's the same thing with, especially while I was working, you know, like I said, I kind of discovered that I thought I was enjoying bourbon. I talked about it all the time. Thought I was enjoying. Really, it was just my tool for stress. And it wasn't good. And while I was on it, when I was on it, like I was addicted to. But when I would drink whiskey, that was my problem too. Is I would put down a glass and I would feel the stress go out of my shoulders and go, there it is. I'm gonna get another, and then another, and then another. Oh, am I feeling good?
Going down good.
And it was taking my anxiety or my stress away from the day. Well, when I retired, it didn't fit the same purpose, and as a result I don't have the same desire for it. And like you said, you'll take it, it's like, this just doesn't taste good. That's 95% of the time when I take a drink of alcohol now. I can go out to the bars with my friends and order a meal and drink unsweet iced tea all day long and not care.
That's something I lean on too, is the iced teas. Way healthier. You still have something that that's in your hand, that physical crutch, and people kind of give you less shit when you're drinking something too. So yeah, definitely a better alternative. But I did want to ask, um, what do you use cannabis for? How does it help you now? Like, what would you say you notice the most?
Yeah, this is boy, I have so many opinions on this because it's been 4 years now. The biggest thing is I have issues that carried over from the prison system and the military. And that would be, body pain is a big thing. I've diagnosed it as fibromyalgia because, you really don't know the cause. But I have that all the time, every day. Every day I'm achy. And, for a while I thought, I just maybe have a flu, or if I don't work out, maybe I hurt, I don't know. And I finally realized that, no, something's going on with me. And I'm not a pain pill guy. I don't like taking pain medications. I just had a shoulder surgery, and we talked about before we started this, but I just had a shoulder replacement, and they gave me the oxycodones to get through the pain in the initial, and the instant, I think 5-6 days into it, I was like, whoop, off. And then I started taking an edible instead, which gives you that little numb feeling, and it took away my pain for that. Well, it was the same thing with my body pain. Is, cannabis, as far as aches and pains goes, was fantastic. I pop one of those and you just get that kind of numb feeling. It takes the edge off your pain, so you're not walking around thinking about it, and you're not anxious, and you're not angry, and it's just a whole different thing. And then the anxiety issues were the same thing. I said, we get too much time in your hand to reflect on everything you go through. Take a little, and have a little bit of cannabis, and all your horrible thoughts go away. You just sit there and relax, and it lets you look at things in a better light.
That's definitely one thing that I've called out a lot of times, is it doesn't do it for you, but it helps you not just get rid of those thoughts, but it helps you work through them. Instead of just being afraid by it or being consumed by it and letting it ruin you, it puts you in the mind state of, let's think through this, let's think where we're at now, and it kind of helps you work yourself through it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. It really, really does. That is probably the biggest thing, is the fact that you can set your mind right. I was kind of mentioning before that, as an example, with the different strains, you got to have your mind right going into just about anything. And the first time, to break it down into like indica and sativa, what we're talking about, the first time I tried sativa, I would mention to you before that, I had just retired, and I had a lot going on in my head, and I was anxious, and I had myself a little bit of sativa, and it didn't sit well with me. Kind of took me in a bad direction, made me more anxious, made me start having dark thoughts and thinking about things, horrible things that haven't happened and didn't happen and probably won't happen, but I would think about them. So I kind of switched off of that and went to the indicas, and found that was perfect for me. Put me in a good set of mind. And as time went on and I got used to it, I kind of thought, let me go back and try this again, going into it with the right mindset. And I found that, if I have a lot of chores to do, if I have raking or lawn mowing or leaf blowing or anything, all I got to do is hit a little sativa in a good mood, and I'll be out there for hours doing monotonous work and loving it.
I love it. I
Love
actually,
it.
today, well, you know what? We're going to do a quick shout out. Day Savers, we're smoking the ultra fine refined tips with wooden tip sugar flavor with a little bit of that sativa. But that sativa that's in here, Alex, I smoked some of this yesterday, and I couldn't stop cleaning the fucking house.
It's great, isn't it?
It was amazing. It
You
was
get things
amazing.
done.
Except for I have children, and when I see I just cleaned it, and then I see it's not clean, like every little thing, I'm like, God damn it. So it also does help with the anxiety of seeing that. So rather than just getting triggered because somebody can't put their fucking dishes in the dishwasher, I
Huh.
just am like,
Could
you know
be.
what? I don't know.
Huh.
But before we do it, you want to try this vibe spray? It's a little lemon drop flavor. Right in the tongue there.
That is the most interesting. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, a little vibe spray. Just like a, there you go. Not the, I don't hate the flavors, but I really don't love it.
Yeah, it doesn't make you so you don't want to do it, but it's kind of a
Offsetting taste for sure.
yeah.
Wowzer. See, I'll fire this up. Check this out. It's like an old flintlock to me. Slider.
Oh yeah.
These are fun.
Huh.
Torch action.
See, we got to get one of them down camera angles so we can get a montage of you
Yeah.
and shit.
And I want to do a video. I want to teach Alex how to use that rolling machine. That'd be cool if I had a fucking video to do that.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to tell you what, man. Like these rolling machines. I don't know if you guys can see that. Bubba put a link in the description. I use the zigzag ones, the orange ones. But they make rolling a joint super easy. But if you just YouTube a video on how to do it, they're going to show you the basic way. But nobody ever shows you the bullshit behind it. Like,
Yeah. Ripping your paper nonstop.
how much
Rolling
we'd
it.
actually put in it. We use filters because we don't want to get Scooby snacks in our fucking mouth. You know,
Yeah.
all the
Oh yeah.
shit right there.
Oh yeah. I get it.
Oh, that's nice. That's from my private collection. Today we're smoking on Jealousy Runts. Bubba, did you look that one up?
I did not.
That's
I believe
amazing.
That's the
Jealousy runts, huh? Is that a combo of like ice cream runts and mixed with something, or?
We'll have Bub look it up real quick.
Yeah, interesting.
Hold on up, Bubba. But yeah, that one's pretty smooth. I like those papers because you can actually taste your cannabis.
information on the jealousy runs here. We got a hybrid. It's got calming and euphoric effects, helps with anxiety and depression. It's in terms of THC percentage, it's in the high 20s. It's a cross of Gelato 41 and Sherbert.
Gelato.
Awesome.
Not that bad of a taste. I'm not gonna lie. This wood one definitely gives it a airy flow. If you didn't notice,
And it has that sugar, I guess, a sugar tip.
Yeah, that's actually quite nice.
I can't wait to be super stoked to clean some shit after this.
I'm gonna go home and vacuum or something. I don't know. Figure out something to do.
We need to fucking mow.
that we do. All this sunlight's been making it get long.
Alex, let me ask you this. I know for myself personally, my family, my kids, even my ex-wife have noticed a tremendous difference in me since I quit drinking and switched to cannabis. Has anyone noticed a difference with you?
besides myself, boy, it's got me coughing. I'm sorry. Besides myself, yes. I frequently say that it makes me a better person, and the good thing about it is that's what all of my family and friends tell me too. I am a much better person on cannabis for sure. I know, like I said, when there's a lot of things that I didn't deep dive into too much, but when you come out with the anxiety and stuff after experience a lot of exposure to a lot of violence and things, a lot of things that come out of that is when you retire and have a lot of time to ponder on it, you start picking up other issues that and I've realized the other day that I never was really OCD, but I am now. And when I'm just wake up and I deal with the day on a daily basis, it's hard for me to focus. I try to watch something on TV and I'm blinking off of it. I try to take on a task. I want to read a book so bad, and I just get one page into it. It's like, I can't do this. And as I said before, a lot of the OCD features that I just learned recently from actually watching Howie Mandel in a commercial, I didn't realize that a lot of my issues were classified under OCD, and that's, I just used to tell people I worry all the time. I worry all the time. I worry about my family. I worry about my grandkids. I worry about my friends. I worry about people getting hurt. I worry about bad things happening, and I dwell on it. And I think that is a lot of the things that I kind of picked up over the years. And to get to the end of what I'm talking about, this helps. It sets me back. I can focus. I can watch TV shows. I can read my book. I can do things without worrying about, oh, what happens if a plane falls out of the sky and lands in my house? I don't have to worry about stupid stuff. I don't
Right.
dwell on it. It's just you can actually get your thoughts back and focus and be a good person. I'm not edgy this way. I'm not angry. I don't snap quick at anything. It's just like take life as it comes. It's fun. So
It really is. And I think the last time that we had met up, we met at a trim party, and Bub and I came down and we were doing some clipping. But what we really took away from that experience was how it brought the entire family together. Like I met your grandchildren, I got to meet your kids, and I'd been hearing about since he was still in high school, I think.
oh yeah.
And your daughter was young, and now they're both parents, and they're working, they got their own thing going on. And to meet them and meet Melissa again was really an awesome experience. And it was, you know, we were all just there to have a trim, and you guys were telling stories, everybody was smiling, it was a really beautiful time. So I think I like to attribute that cannabis, not just from smoking it, but there's something about it that brings people together. Like even Bub and I, this is something that is able to kind of bridge our relationship, and it's a time where this isn't all easy. Like we don't get along all the time. Like after this, there's a lot of work that goes into editing, and we both have our own opinions. I try to give Bub, his freedom to be as artistic as he wants to be with editing, but at the end of the day, we experience a lot together, and cannabis kind of helps us do that. And when it gets too stressful, or if Bub's getting too angry, or if I'm getting too anxious about some shit, we know how to take a little break, and we've got plenty of goodies around us that we can experiment with. And so, yeah, I wanted to say congratulations on that as well, because I think that's huge. I love seeing families as together as you guys are, and as much time as you all spend together, and it really is quality time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we are a very close family, and the funny thing is I thought that was normal, um, but we run into all my kids' friends and other people we work with, and they look at me like we're crazy. It's like you hang out with your kids, and they tell that you hang out with your parents, and it's like yeah, we go barbecues together, we go out to the bars together, we go to movies together, we go to the lake together. We are a very close knit family, and yeah, to attribute kind of how you started this, talking about how cannabis does basically how it's makes you very social. The thing is since I've retired, I didn't start out very social. Like I said, my ADHD, it's very hard. First of all, I have a lot of dark thoughts, so I'm kind of absent when I'm there. If we're over hanging out with people, I'm over here thinking bad things, and smiling and contributing as much as I can. But yeah, then it's, hey, we got to go. We got to go. It's time to go. It's been a while. Let's go. Let's go. And you spend an hour, and then you get. Well, as I said, to help with those symptoms, smoke a little, let it set in. You go over, you hang out with your family, all that stuff is gone, and you enjoy it, and they enjoy you, and you enjoy the moment, and it has made us so social. It's just yeah.
That what you just said, they enjoy you, is so key, because I can relate with myself. It's like at a beach, if it's super crowded, or at a fucking fair or a carnival and people are around. Like you, I have these dark thoughts, and I feel like I need to be on the lookout for this and that and the other. I have to have these fucking A, B, C, D plans and shit. And if I just take, that really fucks up your quality time. My kids
Mm.
notice that. I'm not really paying attention to them. I'm not really even taking in how they've, like, their experience at that point.
Mhm.
So hit the old Zen pin a couple of times, and I'm able to kind of let that go a little bit and focus on the things that are really important. And that's basically our happiness in that moment with the kids.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, that is the biggest thing. I think I think I only hang out with a couple friends every now and again, but I'm always with the family. Uh, yeah, it's great to have those relationships. It's absolutely wonderful.
And I wanted to touch base on something. You know, I think one thing I really liked most about you was your sense of humor and how you can take those dark thoughts that you have, but you really redirect that into humor. And that's something that was relatable to me and how I was raised. And that really, I've seen that help a lot of people because you're the type of person that when shit is bad, there's a bad situation, whether that's in the military or in the prison system, you're the kind of guy that people know can keep his shit together. We're still going to get this done. And no matter how badly that's impacting you, you don't let people see that and you some fucking how bring light into any situation. And so I think that's amazing. I think you're awesome at that.
Well, thanks. I've always, I mean, we're kind of on topics that kind of keep you sort of serious tonight, which is difficult, but I'm trying to be more joking. But the funny thing is the face that everybody saw with my humor, as any psychologists probably tell you, use humor to cover your pain or whatever. But, I'm not going to go that deep because that's not always the case with me. I'm just kind of a sick humor kind of guy. But the face that I would put out there to everybody, sometimes I kind of had to force it and I had to, pretend sometimes because that really wasn't how I was feeling. But that face now is who I am. That's the difference. I don't have, this is me. The humor, I mean, I try to, how I would sometimes have to force just to keep my own sanity is now how I think and react every day. So, I mean, I'm retired. I retired at 50. Come on.
They're turning freaking frogs gay. I had to do an Alex Jones reference with Alex Jones in the studio. Somebody will understand that.
I always talking Alex Jones. Alex Jones got me free drinks for 2 weeks over in Thailand.
Nice.
Yep, went over there and they had a colonel, and people are going to think now I'm making up a story because it's not going to sound right, but believe me when I say a Navy colonel from the Singapore Navy, because they're actually colonels, caught me off guard with that. But he was a colonel in the Navy, and I forget his name, but he was a real super nice guy. We were all staying in this Chulchan Patio Resort, and they had a big bar there in the base of the hotel, and we were introduced to our counterparts during this exercise. It was a Cobra Gold exercise, and while we were introduced them, I introduced myself. I was Chief Alex Jones, and he's like, Alex Jones, and am I supposed to throw my last name? No, he goes, Alex Jones. He goes, you mean and I said, no, I get that a lot. And he said, no, you're Alex Jones. And I said, no, I'm not. I said, I'm actually older than that, Alex Jones. I was here first, and he wasn't going to buy it. So for the next 2 weeks, every time I walked in that bar, he was waiting there for me, and he would not let me pay for a drink because I was Alex Jones.
Money. Nice. I don't think I ever had drinks bought for me because of my name, but people made fun of me for my name. For sure.
Johnson.
Johnson. Fucking Austin Powers. After that, it was over for me.
Doesn't help that you're short, too. See what I'm saying?
Wait,
Can you
what?
put it together?
I'm short.
Yeah.
Bub, am I short?
No, you're a giant among
The cameras
kids.
can't see his height.
Oh, yeah. No, really, I mean, if it helps, he's 6 foot tall. All right.
They call me tripod.
Tripod.
Yeah, I'm really short. It doesn't help either. And I had a chipped fucking tooth in the front until I joined the Navy. So I was called Shorty. I was called Chip. All kinds of fucking names. But never late for dinner.
But never late for dinner.
Goddamn.
That's a fact.
We smoked that all.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling it. I think I was going to branch off on a couple side topics as I was talking, and I totally forgot where I was going. So I had to pull back and just say, yeah, there we are,
Yeah.
We are having a lot of fun in here today. We did the space dust. That was nice. The vibe spray, and then I think that's about a 1.5 gram.
Yeah. Pre-roll.
It's not a pre-roll.
Cone. Pack.
Yep.
Lots of weed.
Yeah, it was good.
There's a lot.
Good stuff.
And because I'll forget, so I'm gonna interrupt really quick. I think one of the missions, as for your podcast, and I think it's really important that we put out there to the military community to veterans with disabilities. I think this is really important. This occurs to me a lot. That stigma is hardcore, especially if you've been in the military. That stigma is hard to overcome, and I think people are quick to throw a negative eye in response to how does cannabis affect you, and without actually exploring it. And I would just like to say from personal experience, because I was that guy, explore it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. I actually was held back from doing this by the fear of what some of the people I respected in the military would think of me afterwards because of exactly what you just said. But I, like you mentioned, I had to try it for myself, and I'm not just saying words about how this helped. Like, I'm demonstrating and have demonstrated how it's helped. Actions, proof, a stack of fucking evidence. A broken, like with my ex-wife, from going from wanting to fucking be locked up in prison probably over each other to now almost like a blood sister. Like, wouldn't bang her ever again, but still care about her relationships and her well-being overall. And I can be honest with her way easier now because of that, It's
Oh yeah.
I just want to tell her the truth. I want what's best for her, and especially what's best for the children. And my goodness, I've never had such a collaborative parenting situation. Like, we do very well with that, and we're very flexible and understanding, but at the same time I don't have to put up with no shit. Am I wrong?
Not at all.
No.
And I mean, to touch base on like what you were saying in the very beginning, from our perspective, I've moved all over the place, and we both kind of grew up and lived in this super small town where it was drinking's accepted, and you don't really hear about marijuana. Marijuana is kind of super taboo. It's out of the
Fucking stoner talk, boys.
yeah, it's out of
Oh,
the
yeah.
area. It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
potheads. It's
Negative stigma, big time.
Yeah, it's super, super taboo. And then for us, our personal experience though, coming all this way, like we've came a long way, and our perspective, we would not have been able to do it with something like alcohol, because the area we used to live in, it's one of those blue collar, you drink with your son to have that bonding experience, and if you were smoking with your son, you're the next best thing to
Holy
going to
shit.
jail. It would have
Yeah.
been frowned
Oh,
upon.
yeah.
You're getting the finger, all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff. And it's just, we live in that day and age where now the cliques, the bondage, all of that is coming together.
Oh yeah. People still are so resistant. They are so wrong.
Yeah.
They are so wrong about like with the alcohol thing, it being acceptable in cannabis. Alcohol screws up everything as far as I'm concerned. Ultimately, it doesn't lead to anything good. The social network that you create when you're doing this is great. Reaching out, Ryan, we've been friends for years, but we never talked about this. And the reason is because you started this, and I was on Facebook, and I looked over and I went, wow, good for him. I immediately hit like on that.
I have a story. That fucking day, Bub and I were at a cannabis event. One of them, the Canna Expo, Missouri Canna Expo, St. Louis Canna Expo.
Yeah.
And you messaged me as I was leaving that, and he said, "Tell me more about this Chief 420." And I could hear his fucking voice through the text message, and immediately I thought, Alex fucking Jones. And so I was like, "Can you call me?" Because I didn't know his take on it, right? He's retired, government motherfucker. He's a govy. But I did think that I had a lot of respect for you, but I think that you were more open-minded than most. So I was like, man, I think this is going to be okay. And Bub was in the car, and I was so excited when we had that conversation and we talked about it, and I could feel your energy from it. And I was like, man, we've got to talk to him, because a lot of people, like you said, have not tried it. They've only heard these bad stories. They've heard that it's bad for your brain or this or that. It could cause this. There are people who have bad experiences because they weren't educated on how to properly consume it. I mean, there are right ways to do this. And I'm not even saying it's for everyone. Not everyone even needs the shit, for one.
Correct.
But if you don't knock it until you try it, you don't know you like cheese curds and mustard until you fucking try them.
Yes, indeed. You introduced me to that. I thought, no way.
God,
No way.
this guy and his cheese curds, he puts mustard on everything
Yeah,
now. He
well,
was putting it on tater
hey, bub.
tots. He was
Hey,
putting it
bub.
on, like, I don't even
Bub,
remember.
check this out. Alex Jones, is cheese curds and mustard delicious?
they are delicious.
Hello. Hello. Somebody that wasn't afraid to try it, and now
Gave
he
it a whirl.
knows the magic to cheese curds.
Anything else for us, Chief?
Lead with change. Lead with love. Chief out.